All right, Aquarius. So like I said during the preview video, I do think that you're going to be dealing with people that don't understand the plans that you're making for your future, but that's because you're seeing the bigger picture. So the veil, the future. This one I like, especially for you guys around this time of year, because it does talk about the history of those times of year when the veil is being lifted, you being more closely connected with the divine source. But it's saying that you need to pay close attention to the messages that are coming through to you now that the veil is lifting around your future. It says, look to what you want to happen, plan, set intentions, and think big. The problem here is that you're going to be dealing with people that don't understand. They're going to look at your ability to follow your heart as reckless or strange, basically. But the thing is I think that they're eventually going to come around. So gossip talks about people not appreciating the differences of others, you know, your uniqueness. That's the key part to this. You know, it talks about support for your vision, lack of appreciation, and refocusing your life. But, you know, you're looking at your future. That's what matters. The problem is the people that are going to be surrounding you going, I don't get it. You know, but that's not about them. It's about you, and it's about what you're planning for your future, even if it's coming from the divine source. So be it. If other people don't understand, then that's not your problem. All right, Aquarius, here is your overall. Oh boy. Speaking of following your heart, the Knight of Cups. Having issues with this one again. I love him, but I don't. The Knight of Cups, the messenger of love and romance. Somebody who may be coming to you with an offer. Or this could be about you doing this. But either way, the Knight of Cups is really about following through on those actions. You know, I always look at that and think, you know, okay, that's great now that you're bringing this forward, but are you following through on this? Now, this could just be a really good offer, though, that may be coming through to some of you. But actions, right? The Knights are about the action that we take. Now, with this being the overall, though, some of you, it's really going to be about following your heart, following where your heart is leading you, you know? But we'll see here. So in the past, the Nine of Coins, or the Nine of Pentacles, and that's good, right? You have everything that you need. Independence, financial security, you're good on your own, you know, and you get to enjoy what you've created in your life. So this may be one of those things where it's like, I don't know, maybe I don't need this, you know, which seems to be like a reoccurring thing here. In the present, the Three of Coins. So this could definitely be about work and working with other people. You know, I think that for a lot of you, you're kind of like used to doing things on your own. Now, if we are talking about relationship, though, with the Three of Coins in the present moment, I kind of look at that as, how are we going to make this work? You know, are you working with this person? Are they working with you? You know, the Three of Coins is about people working together toward a common goal, you know, but it's also about, in terms of work, showing off your abilities and your skills, you know, and getting that kind of recognition, right? But it's collaboration, though, too, working with other people. You know, but we'll see here, right? Because I question that Knight of Cups a little bit. Oh boy. All right. This could be about something that's coming through to you. Somebody who's wanting to make a connection, absolutely. It could have to do with relationship or love, being the Knight of Cups. But looking at the Eight of Swords being in future conditions, I think that for a lot of you, you just don't see how that's going to work. I think that there's at least some consideration in the present moment on how to make a situation work with a person who's wanting to have a connection with you. But for some of you, you're like, I'm used to being good on my own. You know, but the Eight of Swords is really about what we do to ourselves. It's the thoughts that we put in place that make us think that there's no way through. You know, but then I also look at that as fear of moving forward into the future. And it's interesting to me, especially considering that the Knight of Cups is about following your heart. You know, and again, regardless of other people that don't understand, because it's about your future. But in future conditions, you can't. You either can't work with somebody right now or make a situation work, or you can't see how there's any way through here with this Knight of Cups in terms of somebody who may be trying to offer you something here or trying to, have a connection with you, especially emotionally. Okay, your best path to follow. The Ten of Pentacles or the Ten of Coins. This is really about you needing to make sure that, if you follow through on something that's being offered to you, or you're wanting to follow your heart, but you don't see how it's possible, the focus needs to be on what is going to be long lasting for you. And again, I kind of go back to, if this Knight of Cups is about a person that's wanting to have a connection with you, it really needs to be long term. They need to follow through on what they're saying. They can't say one thing and then do something else. And you can't be the only one here that is trying to make the situation work. And that may be where you're kind of being pushed into the Eight of Swords. Like, look, if you're not willing to do your part, how the hell is this supposed to go anywhere? But for you, it needs to be about long-lasting security and stability. Especially considering the fact that you're coming in on this like, I'm good on my own. And again, this could be a relationship or business here. Oh, okay. So, yeah, and that doesn't fucking surprise me. This whole thing with Venus, I'm telling you, man. The Page of Cups, being in your environment. I think that for some of you, feelings are being stirred back up because somebody may be coming toward you, maybe communicating the way that they feel. Maybe trying to restore a relationship with you. And I think that at some point you consider, how is this going to work, or wanting to work with this person. But the Eight of Swords, to me, it's almost like you shouldn't do this if it's not something that you're willing to make long lasting in your life. But on the other hand, you shouldn't do this if this person is not willing to follow through all the way to the end, and it being a long-lasting thing. One of the things I talk about with the Ten of Pentacles when it comes to relationships, this is we're going to grow old together and change our diapers. That's how that works. It's going to be long-lasting. Long-lasting. But I look at this and I think that something is being brought back up in you, some emotions that are being brought back up. But like I said, it could be because of somebody that's communicating to you, somebody that's coming toward you. That, or it's you. But whatever is going on here, there's no way forward, though. Oh, your hopes and your fears. Aquarius, I'm telling you. Look at the Ten of Cups, hopes and fears. Happily ever after. Happy home, happy life, happy relationship, happy. And again, long lasting. It needs to be like forever here. You can't have an in and out situation. I can't have you come in and then back out on me. And that, is where your focus is at. Your hopes and fears is surrounding whether or not you're going to have long-lasting happiness. And again, a relationship seems to pop up here. And I'm just saying, right? For some of you, absolutely. How do we make a relationship work? How do we keep things happy? But you are still coming in from this place of, you don't really need it. But then I look at the Nine of Coins, and again, it seems to be coming up with this one, the Gilded Cage. That's great and all, that you're fine on your own and you're successful. But are you turning things away because it's not going to be long lasting, or you don't see it that way, or you don't think that that person's going to follow through, or you may not be able to? It's one or the other here. Wow, man. I'm telling you. I'm fucking telling you. What did I say? The Two of Cups coming out. But how? How do you get past the blocks? How do you get past those things that are stopping you from following your heart and taking an opportunity or making an offer here? But the Two of Cups coming out, you're talking about the relationship. you know? And I do believe that for some of you, it is going to be romantic in nature. I mean, fuck, look at it, you know? Now, again, the Two of Cups can be any relationship here. But it's really about, you know, being so connected with a person that you see everything the same way. I don't know what the hell is going on this week, but it doesn't fucking surprise me. All right. And it's interesting to me every time the Emperor shows up for Aquarius. So the first thing, the Devil, and then the Nine of Pentacles. You may have had to work really hard to get past, you know, some negative things in your life, bad relationships. Some of you may have been chained to a very negative relationship in the past, which is why you may be single. You know, you're also talking about your vices, your addictions, the negative things. Bad thoughts, bad patterns, bad habits, all that shit. You know, but specifically having to do with your relationships and the way that you see relationships. But I don't know. I get the feeling that some of you are not wanting to get involved in a situation where you're going to be either tied down, or you don't want to get involved in another relationship that's going to end up in a negative way, because you may have already come out of that. Now, the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands for me is never face-to-face communication. So this could be like the back and forth, especially with the Page of Cups there. Back and forth communication over text, email, things like that. About emotions, new emotions that are being stirred up and being brought back up for you. But the Eight of Wands is also about right now, things happening quickly, wanting instant results, needing to get everything kind of like lined up and ready to go, right? But then with the Empress, and this is where it gets interesting for me. The Empress, for me, I look at this as beyond dealing with, you know, the main female. This to me is like needing to be comfortable, needing to be able to enjoy the abundance that's surrounding you, indulging in the physical senses. But it's also about bringing things to life, that nurturing, caring type of energy. Now, this could be the person that you're dealing with. They may be like a female figure. They may be a mother figure, right? I mean, it just depends. Now, for some of you, you know, especially if you're female, coming out with the Empress and the Two of Cups, this could be getting over really difficult relationships, communicating in a way that opens up your heart and gets you into a place where it's really good. It's really good. And it makes you feel good and you feel comfortable. Now, on the other hand, for you, this may be saying that you need to be a little bit more, you know, caring, giving, nurturing, and not that you need to be taken advantage of. But the problem is are you dealing with a person that's got negative shit attached to them, though? Which can definitely be the case with the Devil, besides what you've already dealt with in the past. You know, but the potential there for it to be a good thing is perfect. But what are the blocks? What are those negative things? What is blocking this from becoming a good partnership, a good relationship, a good love connection, right? Wow, Aquarius. All right. And, you know, this may be for some of you, especially if negative things have happened in a relationship in the past, looking back at the veil and gossip, you know, things may not have been that great, but the thing is if you can see the bigger picture, what does it matter what other people are saying? Especially if you're leading to the Two of Cups with the Empress. You know, but how do you make this work, right? Especially if there's still negativity attached to it. And then guidance, I'm telling you, and with the future, yes, you need to pay attention to that guidance that's guiding you to change that is going to open up into this area where you get to enjoy life. Play is saying that, you know, you need to have those times where you get to have fun, right? But things may be changing where, you know, we're not playing so much, but we're needing to pay attention to guidance that's going to lead us into a better area where we can continue to play, but not to an extent where things are negative, especially with the Devil being there, right? But guidance, I'm telling you. And those are the things that are going to be coming through, and you're going to be like, yeah. And that's what you're planning your future around. And then overcoming obstacles, and you're not the only one to get that. Who else got that? I think it was Libra. But anyway, there's going to be a breakthrough where you're going to be able to overcome any obstacles that are blocking you from seeing a way forward to changing a relationship or changing the way that you see relationships. You know, especially for those of you who are single coming into this going, I don't need to be involved with anybody. Now, you know, going back to the work situation here, you know, the Page of Cups is definitely going to be really good communication. You know, that happy news, that news that makes you feel good, right? But it's about somebody that's communicating to you because they want to work with you. You may not see how that's possible, but, you know, this could be something that in the long run could be really beneficial with the Ten of Pentacles being here. But again, it's about what is going to make you happy overall. You know, so this could end up being a really good partnership. But I think that for a lot of you, it's going to have to do with a relationship, romantic in nature. I'm telling you. But there will be a breakthrough. That is the good news. But the play that may have led to some negative things definitely is going to have to change. But again, it's about the guidance that's coming through and the bigger picture and what you're planning around that.